Welcome back to another episode of Marketing Girly by Sky Society. Today it's just going to be you and me sitting down and chatting about how to stand out when applying to marketing jobs. I haven't done a solo episode like this in a while because I've been interviewing incredible guests, but I thought I would take some time to kind of catch up with all of you girls, say hey, and focus on a niche topic in one episode. And that topic today is going to be all about how to stand out when applying to marketing jobs. So I'm going to go over about 5 different ways that you can go above and beyond to stand out and hopefully get noticed more when applying to jobs right now, especially since we're in September and we know September is a really big month for hires. We see a lot of companies generally pick up their hiring process during the fall before everyone goes on winter and holiday break. But before we jump into all of that, I want to take some time to just introduce myself to those of you girls who are new and just update you on my life personally, because I feel like I'm always asking other people questions, but I never talk much about myself. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Natalie. I'm the founder of Sky Society. I started Sky Society, I think almost 4 years ago now, and during the pandemic. So I had the idea for a while. I knew that in college. So when I was in college, I got a marketing and finance degree, and I got my job during college. Actually, I got my full-time job before I graduated. But I felt like there was just a lot of stuff that I was not getting in school that I was actually getting while working a real job. And I knew I wanted to do something around supporting young job seekers. And the pandemic hit, and that kind of created the perfect storm for me to finally go and start Sky Society. And 4 years later, we now have around 17,000 women in our LinkedIn group for women in marketing, which is honestly insane. Let's see what else. We have this amazing podcast and an accelerator. We have a marketing bootcamp for women. So if you have not checked out any of those resources, make sure you do. A little bit about me is I live in Austin, Texas. I started Sky Society pandemic. So I'm trying to rewind and think what I was doing, but I went to University of San Diego. I graduated college. I was living there, and the pandemic hit. And unfortunately, the girls that I was roommates with, none of them were able to get jobs because they were all graduating that year or around that time. And we had to give up the house that we were in. And I ended up moving back home. Same with most of my friends during the pandemic. My family is from Huntington Beach. So Huntington Beach is in between LA and San Diego, for those of you who don't know. So I went back home for a little while and then eventually moved over to Austin once I started Sky Society. But I love Austin, if you can't tell. I'm always recommending that people come and move here. Anybody that says they're interested, I'm like, yes, please do it. The city is so young, and everybody here is not from here. And so they're typically really open to meeting new people and making new friends. So I absolutely love it here. Outside of Sky Society, which takes up most of my time, lately I've been super into Pilates. I know that's the most basic thing ever, but I actually do love it. I've been going to Solid Core. I actually interviewed a couple girls from Solid Core's marketing team, so make sure you check out their episodes. They're amazing. But I have become slightly addicted. I feel like compared to other workouts that I've done, I just love feeling the Pilates princess energy, and I feel I just absolutely love the classes. They're so hard. I am always doing spring modifications and putting less springs because I am still very much struggling. I'm only on my I think 15th class now, but I love it. I love Pilates. If you haven't tried it, definitely try it. Don't try Solid Core first. Try another studio first. I think I did another smaller studio where the classes were more beginner before I went to Solid Core. So yes, I love that. I just moved apartments, so I've been really busy on trying to get everything organized and set up. But yeah, I won't bore you with too many other details about me, but just a little quick intro for those of you who may not know about me or who I am. I think I did an episode where I fully shared Sky Society's story. I think maybe our 50th or 100th episode. Okay, let's get into the good stuff. How to stand out when you're applying to marketing jobs. So there's a couple questions that I see get asked a lot on TikTok or Instagram, and this is one that I see a lot, especially since most of the women in our community are younger and do not have a lot of marketing experience. So they're girls who are just starting out in their career, who are in college, recently graduated, or a couple years out. And so if you feel like lack of marketing experience is holding you back, you feel like you're applying to these jobs and you just are not able to stand out, I'm going to give you some tips. There's a lot. We're going to cover like 5 big areas. So you can pick like one from today's episode to get started on, or you can try doing all 5 if you've got the time. So we're going to start with application materials. I want to start there. So LinkedIn first, because whenever I go through the request for the LinkedIn group, I see so many of you girls whose profiles are not completely full, or who are profiles that are not the best that they could possibly be. And I know most of you are applying to jobs on LinkedIn. So if you are applying to easy apply jobs, you're finding most of the roles that you are applying to on LinkedIn. You need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is beautiful. You need to be spending as much time curating it as you do on your Instagram posts, because it truly does matter. So for LinkedIn, I'm going to cover like some of the biggest areas on your profile that I think deserve some more love and attention. So starting with the top of your profile, you have your photo, your background, and your headline. For your photo, make sure you have a good professional one. And same goes for your background. You want to make sure you have something at least there. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. If you want to put a photo of the city you live in, if you want to design something in Canva, just make sure that you put some thought into your background photo. And then your headline. So recruiters on the back end, they get to see, or they search a lot of terms, and your headline, the keywords there carry the most weight. So make sure that the keywords that you have in your headline are thoughtful and intentional. Look at your top job descriptions, like your dream jobs, and pick out the keywords that you see used most frequently and try to fit them into your headline somehow. Okay, so we have like the top section. Then you're going to scroll down, you're going to have your activity feed. Most of you do not post on LinkedIn, so your activity feed is empty, but it is one of the first things that someone sees when they look at your LinkedIn profile. I recommend trying to post more, even if it's just your favorite take on a marketing trend, and new certification that you got, an update in your career, whatever it is. I think posting is so great, especially again, because it's the first thing someone sees on your LinkedIn profile right underneath your photo. Okay, so post more. Underneath that, you're going to have your About Me section. For your About Me, that also I think deserves a little bit more love. If you are a recent college graduate, don't start your About Me by saying, I'm a recent graduate from blank university. You are so much more than a recent college graduate, okay? So make sure that that is reflected in your About Me section. I see too many girls just focus on their college experience. However, even if you don't have a lot of work experience, give me some more personal anecdotes about yourself, marketing trends that you love, areas in marketing that you're interested in. And again, you want to try to use keywords here that you find a lot in the roles that you are interested in. So give your About Me a little bit of love. And then scrolling down, we have your work experience. Please make sure that your work experience is actually full. There are so many times when I see people have, they upload that they worked at a company for whatever amount of time, but they don't actually describe what they did there. This is so easy because all you have to do is copy and paste what you have on your resume over to the LinkedIn profile. You don't need to write anything new. You just can copy paste it, but please make sure that your work experience is filled out. There's also ability for you to add skills there. So make sure for each work experience, you pick your top like 5 to 7 skills and you add those to each work experience. That is a setting that LinkedIn has. LinkedIn also allows you to add your 5 top skills to your About Me section. So we know about the skill section at the bottom of LinkedIn, but just know that you can also attach skills to your work experiences and to your About Me. I'm trying to go through LinkedIn as quickly as possible. I could do another video dedicated on LinkedIn another time, but for the sake of this video, I want to make sure I can touch on the other ways to make yourself stand out. So let me know if you girls want like a specific dedicated LinkedIn video or LinkedIn podcast episode, or like a specific episode on any of these topics I'm going to talk about, because I just don't have the time to go super in depth on them. But that's for LinkedIn. The last thing I want to mention on LinkedIn is that there are other sections you can add to your profile. So at the top, there's a plus button on your LinkedIn profile, and you could add additional sections. So I love adding a featured section, and in that section, linking your portfolio or other work that you are really proud of. Asking for recommendations is super helpful. You could add a section where you link all of your courses. There's literally a courses section where you could add all of the courses you took in school, a certification section. There are so many. So explore, have fun, spend time on your LinkedIn profile, especially if you're applying to easy apply jobs or roles on LinkedIn, because recruiters are going to be saying that first. All right. Tip number 1, we're optimizing our LinkedIn profile. That's going to help us stand out, because again, a lot of times girls and applicants are not spending that much time on the LinkedIn profile because they think all of the time needs to be spent on their resume. So this can help you stand out a lot. Okay, now going over to your resume. Again, I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of like what makes a good resume, but here I want to talk about specifically customizing your resume. So best practice for standing out when applying to marketing jobs is customizing your resume for each job. And I'm going to go over exactly how to do this. This is the number one recruiter recommended way to stand out when applying to marketing jobs. We did an event last October and I brought on 3 recruiters to talk about mistakes that job seekers make. And this was a universal thing that all of them said is that you need to be customizing your resume to the job description. And I know that can sound really intimidating. So I'm going to give you 2 tools that I think are super helpful when it comes to customizing your resume. I'm going to give you 1 free tool and 1 paid tool. We're going to start with the paid tool. So the paid tool is JobScan. I love this tool. I actually pay for a paid subscription to this for the accelerator students because I think it is so valuable. So I teach all of the girls in our accelerator how to use this tool and how to use it to customize your resume when applying to marketing jobs. But essentially when you think about customizing your resume, you want to think about using the job description essentially as a cheat sheet for the role. They are telling you exactly what they are looking for on the job description, and it is your job to position yourself as the best fit for that job description. So what you do in JobScan is it will allow you to upload the job description and your resume, and it will give you a percent match. It will scan both, and it will say, you're a 30% match for this job. Then what it will do is it will also list out the top keywords in that job description and how many times they are used in the job description compared to how many times that keyword is in your resume. So it's going to compare a keyword like content calendar. It'll say maybe it's used 4 times in the job description and only 1 time on your resume. Or maybe it's not even used anywhere on your resume. However, you have experience managing content calendars. You just talked about it differently in your resume. Maybe you talked about it generally as social media experience. And so it will recommend that you add the keyword content calendar to your resume. And as you add it, you'll see in real time your percent match increasing for that role. And it will walk you through all the different keywords that are on the job description, compare it to how many times you have it on your resume. It'll show you that keyword gap, and then it'll kind of guide you on increasing your percent match for the role. So that is JobScan. I love that tool. I think you get like a couple free scans. I think they might have a free trial. It's not too expensive. I think it's really worth paying for a paid subscription if you need help with this. Now, my free tool. So there are, again, tons of resume customization tools out there now. There's so many. I'm just giving you 2 for the sake of simplicity. The free tool is ChatGPT because I hope more of you girls are using ChatGPT. I myself literally use it way too much. Like anytime I have any symptom, instead of going to the doctor, I will ask ChatGPT. I use it for legal advice. I use it to help me fix random things around the house. Like I send photos to it. I am obsessed with ChatGPT. I use it for everything. And you can use it here too for your resume. So what you'll do with ChatGPT, there's a couple ways, and I recommend that you play around with asking ChatGPT different prompts to figure out what works best for you when it comes to customizing your resume. But the rough phrase I like to use generally is you will tell ChatGPT, I want you to act as a hiring manager for marketing. I will give you a job description, and I want you to give me the top 5 keywords used in that job description that I can add to my resume to help me stand out as a match for this role. Or something along those lines, where you're essentially asking ChatGPT to identify the top keywords in the job description, to ask ChatGPT to also tell you how many times each keyword was used, and that will give you a list, and you can ask it for 5 keywords, 7 keywords of top keywords, and then you can go add those to your resume. Now, be careful with ChatGPT, because if you don't do the prompt right, you'll see that it will ask you it will give you words used most in the job description. So it'll give you words like and, or just words that don't actually matter to the role. So make sure that you mention that you're looking for skills or keywords. So it's not giving you those random ones, but ChatGPT is a great free alternative. So for this tip, essentially just customize your resume. It's totally fine if you can't do it for every single role that you apply to. You can just do it for the roles that you are really passionate about and that you really care about. So maybe you do it for only 20% of the jobs you apply to, or 50% of the jobs you apply to, but this will help you have more quality applications instead of just kind of applying to a bunch and just seeing what sticks. Let's move on to my third tip, which is your cover letter. I know cover letter is like the dreaded part of the application. They take so long. I feel like most of the time we don't even know if it's getting read or if it's pointless or whatnot. I have also asked a lot of recruiters this question of like if cover letters matter, if an applicant should send them. And because this episode is geared towards helping girls stand out when applying to jobs, your cover letter is a way to help you stand out. Now, is it the case that a lot of jobs you apply to may completely disregard your cover letter? Absolutely. However, if you are trying to do anything you possibly can to stand out, a cover letter definitely can help you get the role. There have been several guests I've interviewed on this podcast that have told me that their cover letters played a significant part in them landing the job that they have now. And it could be the same case for you. So I'm going to tell you some tips for creating a great cover letter. And my first is to not use ChatGPT. Okay, I love ChatGPT, like I said before. I use it for so many different areas. However, in your cover letter, it is so clear when I read a cover letter that was written by ChatGPT because it is very clearly not written in your voice and your tone. Now, especially since this is a podcast for the marketing girlies, okay, and for the marketing jobs. In a marketing job, you are required to write, okay? You are required to write subject lines, email copy, Instagram captions, website copy, ad copy, like literally so much copywriting goes into marketing, and your writing in your cover letter should reflect your style and your skill. And if you ask ChatGPT to write it, it is not going to do that for you. And it's honestly just a waste. You might as well just not even submit one. So for your cover letter, you want to write it so you can write it in your own voice. You could add personality to it. You can use ChatGPT to give you like inspiration, ideas, to rewrite specific sentences, but don't use it to write your whole cover letter for you. I'm going to give you a format that will help make it a bit easier. There are lots of incredible cover letter formats. You can use this one or another one, but this is one if you are just starting out and you're not sure what to write for your cover letter. It's a 4-paragraph format. Your first paragraph is a basic introduction about you, that you're excited for the role, and this paragraph is maybe 3 sentences. Then your next 2 paragraphs are each going to be about a previous experience that you have and how it relates to something on the job description. So maybe you talk about how you previously managed social media content for a small business, and that experience is really going to help you do social media content for this new role you're applying to because XYZ. So you're going to list out 2 experiences that you have and then tie it into the job description and why the employer should care about it. So those are going to be your 2 middle paragraphs. Each of those paragraphs should only be around maybe 3 to 4 sentences. And then your final paragraph, again, should only be between like 1 and 3 sentences, essentially your conclusion paragraph. Your cover letter should only be about 2/3 of a page. It does not need to be a full page. It does not need to be a massive, massive essay. Recruiters and hiring managers don't have a lot of time to read massive cover letters. So you just want to make sure that it is tailored to the role. Okay, you want to tie in, again, the experiences and why you are a good fit for that role. So try to submit more cover letters. Again, this does not need to be for every single job you apply to, but if there are certain ones you are trying to stand out, a strong cover letter really goes a long way, and showing the employer that you genuinely care about this role and you care about it enough to write a custom cover letter. For the people that I've talked to on the hiring side that don't like cover letters, they don't like them because they feel like a lot of applicants just copy paste a cover letter without actually customizing it to the role. And so it honestly means nothing. So if you want your cover letter to stand out, you need to be customizing it and catering it to the role that you are applying to. All right, we talked about LinkedIn, resumes, cover letters. Now we're going to talk about marketing portfolios. So my 4th tip here for standing out when applying to marketing jobs is to submit a marketing portfolio. And that can sound very overwhelming if you do not have a portfolio yet, but I promise you building one is going to be a huge game changer when it comes to applying to jobs. This is a whole module again in our accelerator, and I have so many of our graduates come to me and tell me that their cover or their portfolio is really what changed the game for them when they were applying to roles, and that the hiring manager loved it. It's why they called them in for an interview and a huge reason why they hired them. So I promise it is worth your time to invest in building a portfolio. We have some templates in our LinkedIn group and some resources there, and sometimes in our newsletter we share resources. We may or may not be coming out with something super special around portfolios in October. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, if you want to go and build a portfolio for yourself, I think Canva is my favorite way to do it because it is super easy. On a free Canva account, you could create a slide deck, and on a paid Canva account, you can make it into a website. I think that's like the cheapest and fastest way to build a marketing portfolio. If you do not have any marketing experience, you should do mock campaigns for your dream companies to kind of create some experience. But the reason why a portfolio matters is because in your resume, you are writing out and you are telling an employer what you've done. And in your portfolio, you are showing them what you've done. So you are giving them a visual idea of the type of work you are capable of creating and what it would look like if they were to hire you. And that is why it matters so much. And only a very small percentage of applicants are submitting a portfolio. And of those, a very small percentage are submitting a good portfolio. So even if it's not that great, just at least submit one and at least go and build one. I think they're an incredible tool for standing out. A couple rough guidelines. I'm not going to go again for the sake of time. I'm not going to go super in depth on this, but you want your portfolio to not be crazy long. So if you are doing it in Canva, it should be 10 slides max. I have seen 100-page cover letters. I don't know why I keep saying cover letters. 100-page portfolios. Nobody is reading that. Nobody is going through all 100 pages. I think there's a stat that's like the average recruiter or hiring manager spends 6 seconds reading your resume. Okay, they're not going to be spending that much time on your portfolio. They may be like quickly going through it. So you want to be showing not the totality of what you've created, but the best of your work in your marketing portfolio. Okay, it is about the average of the work you have on there, not the sum, not the total. So pick your best projects, your best work samples. Don't make it crazy long and really focus on the visuals here, okay? You already wrote out everything on your resume, what you've done. Here in your portfolio, you really want to make it visual forward. You want lots of screenshots, lots of examples, lots of data, lots of numbers in your portfolio. And this will really help you stand out. I also recommend that you link your portfolio several places. Don't just wait for an employer to ask for it. I think it's awesome if you link it in the featured section of your LinkedIn profile. I think it gets a lot of traffic that way. Make a post on LinkedIn with your portfolio. And then also to make sure that every single job you apply to sees it, link it in your resume. So at the top of your resume where you have your phone number, your LinkedIn profile, and all of that stuff, under your name in the headline, put your portfolio there too, link it there too. So now every single time you apply to a job, even if they didn't ask for it, they're going to have the opportunity to potentially stumble across and view your portfolio. All right. I promise, girls, this is going to be a huge game changer for you when it comes to standing out and applying to jobs. This is your sign to go and create one. And again, if you do not have any marketing experience, you're like, I do not know what to put in my marketing portfolio, then do some mock projects for your dream companies and create some mock experience. And like I said, we have a little something coming out in October, so keep an eye out for that. So those are my best tips or my biggest tips when it comes to standing out with your application materials. There's so much I could go into on each of the application materials individually, but those are some quick actionable items that will hopefully inspire you to change up your materials a little bit to help you stand out when applying to roles. I'm now going to switch in to talk about what do you do once you've applied. So you have these incredible application materials, you've written an amazing cover letter, you've customized your resume, your LinkedIn looks great, you've built a marketing portfolio, you have, your application materials are all set, you apply to the job. Now what? So most applicants, after they apply to the job, they just wait and they hope they hear back. You are not going to be the average. You are not going to be most people. You are going to go reach out to somebody on that team to increase your odds of getting an interview. Now, again, this is something I also teach in the accelerator, and I've had students cold outreach the CEO of companies and get interviews that way. I have so many incredible stories of this working out. Obviously, you're going to reach out to a lot of people and get ghosted a lot. Just don't take it personally because you never know what opportunity will lead to you getting an interview and you getting the role. So ideally, how does this work? When you apply to a job and you look at the job description, ideally there will be a hiring manager attached to that role. Like they will directly tell you who the hiring manager is, and you could look at their LinkedIn profile and you could reach out to them and let them know that you've applied to the role and you're super excited and, to let you know if there's anything else you can do for them. On the other hand, and you could do this on top of reaching out to the hiring manager, is you can go to the company page. So if you just applied to a role there, you could click on the company page, go to their employees, and look for people that work in the marketing department that could potentially be tied to this role and reach out to them. Now, if you have any mutual connections at the company, that's a great place to start. I once had one of our graduates tell me that she applied to a social media job and had 500 applications, and she knew she needed to stand out. So she looked through the employee list, found a mutual connection. She had not talked to this connection since like high school, but she reached out anyway, and that connection was able to get her the interview. And then she ended up getting the job. So sometimes you just need somebody to get, their foot in the door for you, and then you can take it from there. But please, 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 if you want to stand out, don't just apply to the role. Go a step further, reach out to the hiring manager, go to the marketing team, reach out to multiple people on the marketing team, tell them that, you're super excited about potentially working there. You want to follow along on their journey, ask them a question, whatever it is. You may think that a lot of people are doing this, but I promise you they're not. This is going to put you in the 1% of applicants who are going above and beyond to be noticed for this role. And again, I have so many stories of just girls getting responses from the most random people and it opening up opportunities for them. And it could also open up opportunities for you. Okay, marketing girlies, those are going to be all my 5 tips for today on how to stand out when applying to marketing jobs. I also want to leave you with, if you are currently applying to roles and just feeling like you're getting ghosted a lot or rejected a lot, you are not alone in that. There is, again, thousands of girls in our LinkedIn group that would probably have something very similar to say or very similar experiences. So don't let that discourage you. I promise that there is an incredible opportunity right around the corner. You just have to keep going. You have to keep trying, and I promise you will find it. And definitely try some of these tips that I've shared today to help you stand out when applying to jobs. There is a lot you can do when it comes to increasing your chances of getting an interview. And I know it can be really overwhelming sometimes to figure out what to do. I know on TikTok, you'll get conflicting advice from so many different people. So hopefully this kind of gives you some guidance on some actionable steps you can take today after listening to this episode. So yeah, this was fun. I think hopefully I'll start to do more of these solo episodes every once in a while to be able to focus more on niche topics and like really dive in on a topic like this. So if you have any other suggestions on topics you want me to talk about, let me know in the reviews. I do read all of the reviews and they mean a lot. So if you want to let me know there, you could also DM me or post in our LinkedIn group. And I will hopefully be back soon with another solo deep dive episode. But until then, I will see you girls next Tuesday. We'll have an incredible guest on for that one. I'm super excited about it. So I'll see you then for another episode of Marketing Girly.